Hey guys, what's up? It's Kevin Schroff, and today we're going to take an in-depth look at the Realme GT, an exciting new device that many are calling a flagship killer. For the unaware, this term has been associated with previous OnePlus flagships, and it describes essentially a phone that packs all the latest and greatest in hardware at a much lower price point than competing flagship devices with the same specifications. Taking a cursory look at this device, we can see why people are calling the Realme GT a flagship killer. The device packs the Snapdragon 888 5G chipset, which is the latest and greatest SoC from Qualcomm, a beautiful and smooth 120Hz 1080p Super AMOLED panel, a huge 4500 mAh battery, up to 12 gigs of RAM, a triple camera array, and much more, which we will get into in this review. Let's start off with the design. Right off the bat, the Realme GT looks and feels premium. On the rear, we can see an attractive deep blue glass back. The blue streaks add an eye-catching yet understated element to the Realme GT's appearance, which changes depending on the angle and intensity of light hitting it. If we look closer, there's even a downward triangular pattern embedded within the design. The attention to detail here is appreciated. On the bottom left is some clean Realme branding, and in the top left corner is the triple camera array. More on that later. The sides of the device are lined with a dark gray plastic frame. In hand, the frame looks and feels the same as an aluminum frame. On the left-hand side of the device, we see the volume rocker and dual SIM card slot. On the right-hand side is the lock button. On the bottom, we can see a down-firing speaker, USB-C port, microphone, and a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is a nice surprise and almost a rarity nowadays with flagship devices. Coming to the front, we're presented with a thin bezel Super AMOLED display and a hole-punch notch in the left corner for the front-facing camera. The handset speaker is located at the center of the top edge of the device. The build quality overall seems excellent. The device feels rigid and substantial in the hand. Even when intentionally trying to twist the unit, the device feels strong and does not exhibit any flexing or creaking. Let's take a closer look at the display. The Realme GT sports a Super AMOLED 120Hz refresh rate 6.43-inch display, running at 1080 by 2400 with around 409 ppi. The panel is capable of 100% P3 wide color gamut and 98% NTSC color saturation reproduction. Colors are deep and vibrant. Saturation is excellent, and black levels are perfect, as characteristic of an OLED display. Brightness is excellent, and the phone can be comfortably used indoors and outdoors. Pixel density at 409 ppi is great, and means that sharpness with all types of content is excellent. The panel is also capable of 120Hz high refresh rate, with the touchscreen digitizer operating at a sampling rate of 360 Hz. Both of these features in tandem makes general interaction with UI and usage of the phone very pleasurable and buttery smooth. Additionally, games and other content that support high refresh rates will also benefit from this panel's extensive capabilities. As a result of all of these characteristics, the display is highly suited to content consumption. Video, graphics, gaming, and other visual content will be excellently conveyed by this panel. The Realme GT features the top-of-the-line, most powerful, latest and greatest chipset produced by Qualcomm yet, the Snapdragon 888 5G SoC. No cost was spared here. Performance is undoubtedly top tier. Built on a 5nm process, the octa-core CPU cluster layout consists of 4 Cryo 680 cores at 1.8 GHz, 3 Cryo 680 cores at 2.42 GHz, and 1 Cryo 680 core at 2.84 GHz. The GPU is the Adreno 660. Looking at benchmark scores can be useful if you have a reference point to compare it to, for example your own phone. Under Geekbench 5, the Realme GT manages a CPU single-core score of 1123 and a multi-core score of 3033. These are impressive numbers. Just for some context, the Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G puts out the same numbers. Only difference is that phone costs $1,500, whereas the Realme GT costs $550. A huge difference in price. The Realme GT is 1/3 the price, and yet both of these devices have equivalent performance. This is one of the reasons why people are calling this phone a flagship killer. How do those performance numbers translate over to real-world performance though? I'm glad to report that the real-world performance of the Realme GT matches these chart-leading benchmark numbers. Interacting with and operating the UI is incredibly smooth, with no perceivable drop frames whatsoever. The combination of a high refresh rate 120Hz display, 360Hz touch sampling digitizer, fast yet beautiful system UI animations, and an incredibly powerful SoC to back it all up, combines together to deliver a top-notch experience in terms of smoothness and performance. This is undoubtedly the smoothest and fastest phone I've used yet. Heavy tasks like video rendering and gaming are no challenge to the Snapdragon 888. Expect any and everything you throw at it to be handled with ease. Even when not loaded into memory, apps launch almost instantaneously and are ready to go from the moment you decide to open them. The OS is well optimized to the device and does not hinder its performance. Animations throughout the OS are visually pleasing, smooth, and help make interacting with the UI more fluid. Speaking of software, the Realme GT 5G runs Android 11 with the Realme UI 2.0 skin on top of it. Realme UI 2.0 thankfully does not make any intrusive changes to the OS and provides a better overall experience than Oxygen OS 11 in my opinion. Aesthetically, the OS is pleasing and offers a bevy of configurable options and features, including a well-equipped personalizations menu that lets you customize the UI extensively. Here, you can apply themes, wallpapers, customize the icon styles, system UI color scheme, fonts, dark mode black level, the always-on display, and more. Speaking of the always-on display, this feature works similarly to implementations you may have seen on other devices. It can show the date and time, current notifications, battery level, and calendar events. As previously mentioned, all this can also be customized, even allowing you to put up custom text or a custom image as your always-on display. Moving on to biometrics, the Realme GT also features an under-display optical fingerprint sensor. The fingerprint sensor is very accurate and has never failed on me even once. Unlock time is very fast, and if I had to estimate, it feels like a sub 1 second unlock time. You can also set up face unlock, which in my experience has also been very accurate and also has what feels like a sub 1 second unlock time. Everything about this phone is fast. Now let's move on to the cameras. On the back, the triple camera array consists of a main rear 64 megapixel f1.8 sensor with PDAF, a secondary ultra-wide 8 megapixel f2.3 sensor, and a tertiary 2 megapixel f2.4 macro sensor. On screen is an assortment of pictures and videos taken with the various rear cameras and their details in the corner. Picture quality overall is good. Particularly on the main rear camera, sharpness and detail is excellent, and the image produced has good contrast and handling of highlights. Color saturation on the main rear camera, however, is noticeably boosted. I don't like this and would rather that the saturation be left unprocessed, as this sort of saturation boost can be detrimental to overall image quality. You can see that in some photos, the boosted saturation in the main rear sensor looks good and is pleasing, but in other photos with different subjects, the boosted saturation makes the image look cartoony and unrealistic. For example, compare these photos of the car and background between the main rear sensor and the ultra-wide sensor. The ultra-wide sensor doesn't seem to have the boosted saturation processing, so you can clearly see the difference between the two and how the boosted saturation is affecting the image. In the main rear sensor's image of this scene, the car seems to have a noticeably bluish tint over the paint, license plate, headlights, and chrome window trim, and the house behind it seems almost orange. Contrast this with the ultra-wide photo, and we can see that the overall color reproduction is far more natural. The car is far less blue tinted, and the house behind it is more true to life in color reproduction. If I had to put a number on it, I'd estimate color saturation is around 30% exaggerated on the main rear sensor. Otherwise, detail, contrast, highlight, handling, and sharpness are all great on the main rear sensor. The ultra-wide sensor's image processing is more true to life. Sharpness and contrast is also good here for an ultra-wide camera. The field of view is appreciated and can be very helpful when shooting pictures and video in physically constrained situations. On both sensors, and in both photo and video, shutter speed and autofocus is very fast and accurate. The macro lens is a gimmick on any phone, as far as I'm concerned, so I won't be taking a look at it. Video quality on the Realme GT with the rear main sensor and ultra-wide is generally good. The main rear sensor can shoot at up to 4K 60fps, whilst the ultra-wide can shoot at up to 1080p 30fps. The previously mentioned image processing characteristics for both sensors are similarly present under video. Additionally, video steadiness with both sensors is quite good. The gyro EIS stabilization does a great job of keeping the video steady and stable without introducing any weird jerkiness or stabilization artifacts with general motion. On the front, we have a 16 megapixel f2.5 sensor. Image quality is good overall and will be great for video calls or selfies. Just make sure to turn off the face retouching feature first. The Realme GT has a 4500 mAh battery, which is quite large in size. A metric like battery life is subjective and dependent on how a person uses their phone, so take that into consideration. That being said, on my phone, I have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and data always on, with Bluetooth being connected to my Galaxy Watch at all times, and auto brightness at medium-high. I also have the display set to 120Hz 1080p. Usage-wise, I mostly browse the internet or social media, stream Spotify music, and watch YouTube videos. With those settings and usage, the Realme GT lasts me around a day and a half of usage, allowing around 6 hours of screen on time. The Realme GT is also equipped with 65-watt fast charging tech. This lets me fully charge the phone from 0% to 100% in roughly 30 minutes, which is awesome. The speakers on this phone are good. The speakers can get loud and still maintain a good level of sound quality. The sound quality does, however, tend to emphasize the highs, even though the speakers are capable of good mids reproduction. The Realme GT has mixed dual use of both the bottom-firing speaker and the front-firing earpiece, which work together when playing back music or videos to maximize speaker audio loudness and quality. In-call voice quality is also good for both incoming and outgoing calls. Connectivity-wise, the Realme GT 5G is equipped with strong networking capabilities. I've not had any issue with the reliability of connection or speeds with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or mobile data. As I don't have 5G coverage, I was unable to test the 5G capabilities of this smartphone. However, if the other networking capabilities are any indication, the 5G capabilities should also work great on this phone. The Realme GT also supports concurrent dual SIM, but no SD card slot. This shouldn't be an issue, however, due to the generous 128 gigs of UFS 3.1 base storage. On the bottom, we have a USB-C port for the aforementioned 65-watt fast charging and data transfer. The USB-C port is also capable of USB OTG, so you can connect to things like USB devices. However, HDMI display out is not supported. Accessory-wise, the Realme GT came along with a pre-applied screen protector and a plastic case included, along with the standard manuals, fast charging adapter, and a white USB-C cable. In conclusion, the Realme GT is an excellent smartphone that embodies the philosophy of what it means to be a flagship killer. The Realme GT's beautiful design and solid construction makes it feel premium in the hand, and the combination of a fast 120Hz AMOLED display, Snapdragon 888 SoC, UFS 3.1 storage, and Android 11 make it zip through any task you can throw at it. The device undercuts flagships at 1/3 their price, and yet still manages to deliver an equivalent flagship level experience without having any obvious weaknesses or cost-cutting measures. This device gets a solid recommendation from me for the extremely smooth and fast experience it delivers, and the latest and greatest hardware and software it packs. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. Please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below, or shoot me a message over on Instagram at Nivek4s. Thanks and see you later.